Hi everyone, thank you very much for joining this talk. I know that it's been very difficult with the current situation, but I'm really pleased to kind of show what's going on currently at Innopolis in terms of working with different evolved art forms as a method in order to encourage student creativity and encourage us to use evolved methods in order to make art inside of the classroom. So Innopolis University is a brand new technical university. It is based out of Innopolis, Tatarstan, Russia, which is about 45 minutes away from the major city of Kazan. Since we are a new institution, we are looking at brand new versions of teaching methods and engaging our students in creative ways. For this project, I had a really great team. So I'm Joseph Alexander Brown. And I had two TAs working with me on this, Hamna Islam and Nikita, and they were basically acting with the class. And also in this project, we had one of the class representatives join us in order to talk about this issue, and that was Darina. So really good team for this, and we were all really excited to try to have new teaching methods happen inside of our Introduction to AI class. At Innopolis, we've been very interested in looking at active learning. There's some reasons for this. It's been shown to increase student outcomes. It's been shown to increase student engagement with the class. And it's also been shown to increase student enjoyment. Outcomes we can see is kind of like the really good improvement in terms of this, but I think also we seem to forget that students should be enjoying the classes that they take, and in fact, instructors should also be enjoying what they're doing with this. Just a couple of references here to some of the resources in order to back up this claim. And overall, what we've looked into inside of Innopolis is trying to encourage more of this type of teaching. And we do this partially through a system known as the Instructional Skills Workshop. And there's some other supports inside of that if you're interested in the literature of how we've put this in place inside of our classrooms. But the big piece of this mostly amounts to we're trying to really get these sorts of engaging classes inside of our teaching, which is very hard and usually inside of the context of science and technology. So what we did was look into computer art inside of our active learning debate, brought students into the conversation. There's this huge debate over whether humans are this superlatively creative entity that is the only thing that could ever create and design and build art, or if there is this kind of found art or outsider art that can be created via computer techniques. A lot of the arguments for and against both of these principles really formulate around the Turing test and the Chinese room, which are two philosophical issues that we deal with in our class. And we also see that there's a lot of media takes on this, and it's kind of almost science by press release than it is actual debates amongst the scientific community. This was really around the time when there was that whole sale at Sotheby's of that computer art that had been halfway intellectually stolen from an actual creator and then sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars at this auction. And so this was a currently happening debate within the media. And so we wanted to kind of bring this debate back into the classroom and have students engage with the readings and the text. For the assignment guidelines, we mostly had requirements like must use an evolutionary algorithm in order to meet with the course requirements. The other two were also in place in order to give something for the algorithm to work upon. So the image process should take a 512 by 512 pixel image in as an input image, and the process should output a 512 by 512 image. Students were also required to hand in what's known as an artist exegesis, which is coming from the idea of the word apology as an explanation, not like I'm sorry, but more of like this is what I did. each of the students would not just submit the code and the outcomes of the process and the images, but also an explanation of what decisions did they make from both the design process of the computer side as well as the artistic side. So we had some sort of measure of what they were doing in their creative process and what their thoughts were on the process. I think this is really important that when we encourage this, it's not just from the standpoint of only the technical side, but also that they have to have some sort of rationale for what they're doing in their system creation. At the end of the course, there was also a competition between the created images. We gave 5 different selection of base testing images to the students. That was in order for everybody to have a certain set image that you're targeting against, so there's kind of a fairness within the group. Each student had then about a day in order to provide a contest image that they would put into the final contest so they could try out their algorithm on the different images and pick the one that they thought was most interesting. Each student then selected amongst all of the group what they considered their 3 best images. This was compiled. We ended up with 6 images that were highly ranked by the students, and these were given to a set of guest judges for evaluation. For our guest judges, we used both people that were within the field of art, as well as looking at this with people that were in the field of various forms of machine learning and evolutionary computation. So that way we had both the technical and the artistic side making the judging on the final images. This was also a point of greater community engagement within the group, but also outside of the group. We used the hashtag Innopolis AI Art on Twitter. This allowed students to post their works in progress, and also the images from the second contest that we had this year when we recreated this system are also up on there. So if you're interested, go and check out Twitter at hashtag Innopolis AI Art. We used this guest judging group, which allowed them to be engaged with artists as well, and the final results of the contest were posted up to YouTube for others to watch. Innopolis being a new university, we don't have the same level of traditions as a lot of universities, and this is now a second year of running this contest. We've used this kind of from the basis of learning evolutionary algorithms, and now what's happening is students are talking about between the years about the systems in place and their engagement with this. So we're kind of creating a new tradition. So what does the paper talk about? I've given you basically the introduction to what the system is, how we kind of went through the process, but the paper really details what the process was that we used in order to create such an assignment within the classroom. It's got a lot more information about the frameworks of active learning and why it works and what the student response was. And we also dig into these exegesis documents. So every single student, we had their rationale for their creation. And some of those are really creative ideas inside of there and pieces inside of this. We also look at the contest process and how to create good usable contests. And at the end, we also have a lot of really pretty pictures inside of it. And there's more on the Innopolis AI Art hashtag as well that you can see of student creations using evolutionary algorithms. And I want to end actually with showing you the finalists of the contest and the images here. On the left-hand side, you can see that we have this fractalized ape. And if you look, every single one of those small squares is actually a fractal selected to make up the color. Up in the top right hand, there's kind of this gem fractalization as well. And down in the bottom, there's an image here where it's a picture of a car that's been turned into brush strokes. And so these were our 3 finalists voted on by the students and then by the judges. So thank you very much for attending. If you want to get in touch with me, this is my contact information. I'm at JB 0 3HF on Twitter, or j.brown@innopolis.ru. And if you have any questions about implementing this in your own class, or if you're interested in some of the processes that we used from here, please feel free to contact me about this. Have a great day.